And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma.
All right, and we are live. Welcome, everybody. First of all, I want to say I know a lot of you are going to be watching the replay. If you're jumping in and out as we do this, if you catch us, obviously later on in the video, go ahead and start from the beginning so you don't miss any important information that we're going to be sharing today. For those of you guys who are brand new to my world, hello, I am Chrissy Ferreira. I am the host of the Raise Your Authority Leadership Summit that is taking place on February 1st and February 8th. Today, I'm actually going to be bringing on one of the 6 panelists for the Raise Your Authority event. So I felt it was important to bring, of the different women on here so you can kind of get a little taste of what to expect on the at the event. A lot of these women you already know, they have literally positioned themselves as leaders and experts in their industry, but I want you guys to get a little bit of a taste. So this is going to be short, sweet, to get you excited, to get you amped. We're in the official launch phase of the event. We just opened the doors last week, and we've been talking about it, been introducing the panel one by one. But today, I've actually brought on Makeda Smith, the CEO of Savvy Chicks in Real Estate. I'm going to go ahead and bring her on stage so she can introduce herself. Give me 1 second. All right, everybody, give me a round of applause for Makeda Smith. I am so excited to have you here, Makeda. How are you doing today?
I am good, just recording your intro so I can make sure to share with our social media audience, but I am good and ready for our interview.
Yes, I'm excited. So, with Makeda here, we're not going to give away too much, okay? And if you know Makeda, I don't see you jumping on lives as often anymore because this woman is busy. She just got back from Bali a couple weeks ago. She's hosting another event coming up. You see her all over the place, but you don't see her on live very often, and that's because she is busy. So we're going to keep this live very, very exclusive. I'm going to ask Makeda a couple questions today because I don't want to give away too much before the event. So I want you guys to get a little bit of a taste. But today I'm going to be asking Makeda, for those of you guys who've never seen her online, first of all, if you're not following Makeda, go ahead and follow her over on Instagram. You can find her at Makeda Smith, CEO. I went ahead and tagged it in the caption above for those of you watching on Facebook. For those of you who are watching the replay on Instagram, go ahead to the caption and go ahead and follow her so you can really get an idea of the different places that she is online, because I know you have more than one place that you're really active on Instagram, but that's your main account. So I want to go ahead and share that. But you're going to find out who is Makeda Smith, all about her business, and we're going to talk a little bit about, the turning point in her business where she was able to establish herself as an authority, because that's what we're talking about today, and build this 7-figure brand that she's been able to establish today, and then also talk about why she's excited to be on the panel. So I'm going to go ahead and hand over the mic to Makeda. Makeda, would you mind introducing yourself, please?
So, hey, everyone, I am Makeda Smith. I am the CEO and founder of Savvy Chicks in Real Estate, which was established in 2017. And just as of yesterday, I had a speaking engagement at a vision board party at a Mix and Mingle. And I was like, you know what? I'm no longer saying that we are a marketing agency and a business consulting agency, but we are a global real estate network. And what that means is that Savvy Chicks in Real Estate has positioned itself to where we are getting members all over the world. And so we're not just even limiting ourselves to real estate agents anymore. It's anybody who is a woman that is in the field and industry of real estate.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm gonna pivot for like a second because it's crazy how you meet people in the online world, and how, even though you and I have never met each other in person, I've been able to watch your journey over the past few years. Makeda and I met back in a coaching program back in 2020, which feels like forever ago, but it was only a little less than 3 years ago. And to watch where you were, even there, you were doing incredible, in my opinion. But I've seen your business pivot and pivot and pivot and pivot. And it's been an honor to be a little bit in your world and to watch your growth. And I love how humble you've stayed along the entire process. I definitely know that's something that a lot of people can attest to who know Makeda Smith. But I would love to know, as your business has been, pivoting and pivoting, is there a specific place in your journey over the last few years where you feel like this is the moment? This is the moment that I was really able to establish myself as the go-to person in the real estate industry, in the marketing industry, even though you're no longer considering it a marketing agency anymore. Was there a specific point in your business where you felt like we did it, like I've been able to position myself this way?
I know you asked me that question before, and I'm like, was thinking about it, and then listening to you ask me again, I was just thinking that the answer is still the same, that it's been multiple times that I have established my authority over the course of my business. And like you just said, that I pivot and I pivoted and I pivoted. And most people would be, well, I was afraid. I was going to say most people would be afraid. No, I was afraid to pivot, but I pivoted anyway. I did it scared. One of the things that I would say offline, so before I got my license in 2004, and so of course I wasn't raising anything, I was in learning mode. And so once I learned and I positioned myself as an REO agent back then in 2008, and basically what that means is that I began to sell real estate for the actual bank. And so for me to be able to do that, I established myself to me and in my industry as an authority during that time in 2008 until like 2012, just because it wasn't a lot of people that was doing what I was doing in that niche back then. And so people were looking for me to give them a way in on how they can do the same thing. And so pivoting, again, and opening up the marketing agency in 2017, I ended up firing my last REO client, which is a corporate client for real estate, to sell their foreclosures back in 2017, because I had pivoted into the marketing space and I was online. So, Periscope, Instagram, going live like crazy. And like you said, that you don't see me going live anymore. One thing that my husband said to me, and he's on the outside looking in, he was like, "You too accessible." He was like, "You are too accessible." And I was like, you know what? You don't understand social media. Like you don't understand. But with me doing all of the things that I'm doing, when you compile everything that you're doing in your business, running your team, serving your clients, going live, being a marketing person behind the scenes, creating the landing page, like going to go do the photos, getting clients offline. It's a lot to do. And so I had to, for myself, to pull back. And I thought about it. I was like, let me go ahead and go live. Yesterday I was going to go live, didn't go live, was going to go live last week, didn't go live. But the thing is, my business, because of all the hundreds of times that I did go live, I still have seed in the ground. And so for all of the things that I have done before this day, and like I was talking to the audience on yesterday, and I was telling them, and I used the Bible as an example, and I said, when Jesus was going from city to city and from place to place, I said his fame began to spread throughout the land on who he was when people were seeing results, meaning that they were being healed. Women with the issue of blood was being dried up. And so people were spreading the word. And so now with me being online, going live, talking about this topic, being on this person's platform, being offline and being at events, hosting my own events, not waiting for somebody to invite me to the table. That was another way, Chrissy, that I was able to raise my authority. So I'm going to take control of my authority and not let it be in the hands of somebody else. And so before somebody else gives us the authority or put us in any type of position, God has already put us in position in order for us to raise up and take our rightful place. Like my rightful place. And I will go back to say that it had to start with a mindset break. So even now, Chrissy, I feel like when I crossed over to 2023 and we entered into that fourth quarter of 2022, for me, 2022 was a rough year. And I know a lot of people have said that, but it was a rough year for me mentally, financially, spiritually. It was just, and it doesn't mean that my business wasn't, booming, because for me, I was still operating off of the seeds that I already put in the ground before everything went haywire. So I was still operating off of that. So behind the scenes, it was chaotic, but in front of everybody, they was like, "Oh, Makeda, like she's doing great," but really, I wasn't. And so in that fourth quarter, it's like I had got my momentum back. I started getting prophesied to, or what was getting ready to come. I was being offered opportunities, just like the Hope magazine cover. And I was like, wait a minute. I had the speaking engagement in Dubai. And so Dubai, that raised my authority. I got off, I was on the plane and standing in the desert, and that being in the desert, and I have never ever before been in the desert, that helped me to raise my authority. When I came back and got off the plane, when I conquered being on a plane for 15 hours straight, that raised my authority. I said, I didn't travel to the other side of the world. Where can we go next? And so that was Bali, right? And so then that was 2 days getting over to Bali. And I was like, this is a longer travel than us going to Dubai. That doesn't stop us again, right? Because now that raised my authority. And I'm like, what way? And I told during a speaking engagement yesterday, I had told them that visionary brunch that I've been having. Well, I haven't had it yet, but I'm on my second one, and we're 3 tickets from being sold out for the one in February. But next weekend, I'm going to be standing in this room from a birth of an idea that I got when I was in Bali. It was 2 a.m., Christy, when I got the idea. I'm like, okay, what am I doing in January? And I took my phone, girl. I created the graphic, created the landing page, put the price on it, posted it, and we were sold out in 2 weeks. And so that didn't come off of the strength that, oh, Makeda posted an event this day. Who was this girl? It came off of the seeds that I had already put in the ground. So I feel like I'm in a place now to where I have raised my authority even further. That was a lot.
But that was great, because now I'm building on it. I'm building on it. So a couple of things. I think that you raised a couple important things for people to consider. Is, first of all, is raising your authority deals a lot with impact, and the impact that you're making along the way, regardless if you're pivoting, regardless if you're staying in the same industry, is crucial. And this is why it takes time. A lot of people, they see us where we are today, and unless you really understand the journey of not just where we started, but like the steps that we took to get where we are today, it can feel like a fantasy to get to where we are, right? And people can look at your business and they're like, oh, well, Makeda does this, Makeda does that, she's on the magazines, right? They look at all of that stuff, but they didn't look at all the things that you had to do to get there, the work that you had to do behind the scenes, getting on the planes, pushing yourself to reach out to people, to be on your panels, to be a part of your events, to be a part of your team, even when you didn't feel like the authority back then. It takes grit, it takes grind, and it takes a lot of courage, I think, and believing in yourself and trusting God. And I love that. I think another thing that you brought up is that pivoting takes time as well, right? Is that it's not just like, oh, one day you wake up and you decide you're going to do something else. Sometimes when you pivot, it's almost like out of necessity. You may have started your business with a certain vision, and your vision may change, or your path to that vision is going to change. And it kind of takes its own flight along the way. You're going to meet people along the way that influenced you and showed you something that maybe you never thought was possible. I don't know if you thought, 3 years ago, back in 2020, that you would be in Dubai, that you would be in a desert, that you would be in Bali, that you would be doing all these things, that you could be so profitable in your business without being on live, 3 times a week, even once a month, right? That takes time, and the impact and the seeds that you're planting along the way are crucial. And that's why when I actually posted earlier today is that consistency is important. And I think that people get consistency confused because they think, social media strategy is what comes to mind. Oh, I got to show up 3 times a day and I got to do it. I got to show up like at the certain time every Monday, right? I think consistency is just staying true to your vision and showing up and teaching the same thing over and over and over again, regardless of how difficult your year is, and you keep going. I've definitely watched you go from like just looking at your business like from an outsider's perspective. Your husband has an even better insider perspective to see the things that you've been through, which I think is beautiful. But it's been incredible to watch your journey, and that's one of the reasons why I'm really excited to have you on this panel, is because you've pivoted so many different ways, but everything that you've done in your past is what makes you so incredible at what you do today, right? Mm-hmm. Starting off in the real estate industry, then pivoting into the marketing agency, and then positioning yourself as a global speaker and a global brand. Like, that seems like such a, like when you just say it, it's like, how do you go from real estate agent to marketing agency to worldwide speaker? Like, it doesn't make sense on paper, but when people watch your journey, it definitely does make sense. So it's been beautiful to watch that. And without getting too far into it, because for obviously the whole point of, I wanted to bring Makeda on so you guys get a little bit of taste of her story. Obviously, we're going to be diving in more into this and how she's been able to position herself as an authority. And we're going to open up some questions when we do have her on the panel on February 1st. I did want to ask you one more question before we jump off is, obviously, we have 6 women on this panel, right? And when I reached out to you, I would love to know, why are you excited to be a part of this event? And why do you feel like people should join us on February 1st at Raise Your Authority?
Well, I'm excited to be a part of it because it's you. Because like you mentioned earlier that we started together in a coaching program. Mm-hmm. And you didn't mention as well that we work together with Savvy Chicks. That you were a very integral part of Savvy Chicks in Real Estate. We're helping with the marketing process for our clients as well. And so like we formed a relationship, we formed a personal relationship. And so I've been excited too, as I've been busy watching, and when I log on to Facebook and when I see your post, I'm like, oh, look at Chrissy. Like, I watched you one time and I said, I love like where you're going, because I can tell that it was authentic to you and that you had completely shifted, but it was a shift that you were comfortable in. And I was like, oh, look at Chrissy. And so I had to inbox you just because I was able to notice the shift. So I'm excited to be a part of it because of you, because of your growth. And I'm excited also to share my story. And the third thing that I would say is that the title that you have, Raise Your Authority Leadership Summit, I think leadership is very important. I feel like we as CEOs don't put enough equity into training ourselves to be better CEOs and better leaders. And I made a decision in 2020 to work with a mindset coach just because I wanted her to help me with my mindset to be a better CEO. And so one of the things that I love when I was working with her is that she would always pull out the biblical principles that both her and I were familiar with to teach me how to be a better leader. So I'm excited because that raised your authority. And then like you got me thinking, because you're like, well, when did you raise your authority? Mm-hmm. And so now it has me thinking, when you was like, I don't see you going live. I'm like, no, I don't be live. So I'm just excited to be a part of it because it's you. And I'm just grateful that you asked me to be a part of it. And I heard you in the beginning say that I have remained humble. And the reason why, and I'm picking it back off of what a host said on yesterday, my friend Mona, who I also met online, she was like, Makeda has always treated me the same. And when you treat people the way that you want to be treated, like that goes a long way. And I think it was a quote by Maya Angelou that people will never be able, they will never forget how you made them feel. And so I know how other people can make you feel either good, bad, indifferent. But for me to stay humble, stay that same person. Like somebody was like, oh, I follow you on social media. Oh, we talked in your DM. I didn't remember. I didn't have a clue. But because I treat people the same, like it doesn't matter.
I first of all, thank you. I appreciate that. I'll go back to the first thing you said. I'm going to piggyback on what you just said now. But, I think that it's really important when you create panels like this, when you put events together, there needs to be intention behind the people that are in the room, because you can put together, I could have been like, all right, who are all the 7-figure and multiple 6-figure business owners I know, right? And I could have just went down the list, because I've built tons of relationships. I know tons of women in these industries, right? I have a lot of people in my inner circle. But when you're building these types of containers, you need to be really specific about what your audience truly needs. And the things that I felt like my audience needs was, one, true leaders, women who lead from the heart and actually like to see other women succeed. Because there are plenty of people that I could have reached out to that I don't really, even though they are known in their industry, you could view them as authorities. In my mind, they aren't the leaders that my audience, I think, could necessarily benefit from. I know that you love to see other people win. You're constantly, like, even you and I, we've stayed connected throughout the years. I've seen the behind the scenes of your business from working with your agency. I know how much you care about your team and you care about your clients. And this woman, like, I know your business has changed a lot in the last couple of years, but I know how hard you worked behind the scenes. I'm a night owl like you, staying up till 2 a.m. in the morning back then, getting it done for our clients, no matter what it took. So I understand the grit and grind that it took in the last couple of years. So I appreciate that. Also, I think it's important to make sure that, when it comes to being a leader, it's not just about teaching people like the strategy. I think the mindset piece is really important. And mindset almost becomes like this overused word. Like, a lot of people don't like hearing level up because everyone uses it. And a lot of people don't like hearing mindset because everyone uses it, but it is true. And because, building a corporation, building a company, because we're not just building businesses, we're building companies, and that requires other people to be a part of it and taking care of your team and not just your clients. It takes a lot of work. There's going to be people that tell you no. There are people that told me no for this event. I'm not even going to pretend, right? People are going to tell you no. People are going to challenge you. People aren't going to like everything that you have to say, right? But I think it takes a really strong mindset to be able to continue on our vision and know that, like, the ultimate goal is bigger than just ourselves. It's the people that are following us. So I think that that's what makes a really strong leader. So I'm glad that you touched on that. I'm so honored to have you a part of this event. It's going to be incredible. The other women that are part of this event love to see other women succeed as well. And I think that you all, like, complement each other really, really well. I'm almost like itching for the day to come. So for those of you guys who want more details about the Raise Your Authority Leadership Summit, it's going to be on February 1st. This is going to be about a 5-hour event. I'm not going to bore you with specific details. You can go to raiseyourauthority.com to learn all about the other panelists, all about the events, and then also our VIP cocktail hour that we're going to have on February 8th. So thank you so much, Makeda, for jumping on with me today. You guys go follow her. I've dropped all of her information above, and you will see us very soon. Any final words, Makeda, before we jump off?
Nope. I'm just sitting here smiling, very proud of you, looking at the words and language, and like I'm just very, very proud of you and your journey.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. Bye. We'll chat with you soon.